Yo, it's D-Roy, Big for Chad in the house. Tune in every Wednesday, don't you pout. Got Tony and Dan bringing fire, no doubt. Smash Mouth Podcast, we're gonna shout. NFC North, we're repping the crew. Packers, Bears, Lions, and Vikes too. In the studio live, we're breaking it down. Smashing through the topics, taking over the town. D-Roy dropping knowledge, Chad bringing the heat. Tony's got the facts, make it hard to beat. Dan the GOAT with the plays and the stats. When we hit that mic, no time for chit-chats. Smash Mouth Radio, we come alive. Wednesdays at 5, come and vibe. Aggressive and real, we tell you how it's done. NFL talk, we're just having fun. From Chicago to Green Bay, we're right in your face. Flip the script on the game, we're setting the pace. Tune in for...
Hey, how we doing, Mike?
I'm doing so good, Chad. How are you? Welcome to the show. It's your show. I'm welcoming you.
Well, I'm thanking you. You're a guest often and member of it. And, well, I don't know where Darren is, so I appreciate you stepping up and taking over the controls because I'm just on my cell phone right now.
No problem, man. No problem. It's the off season. We're here. We're finally into July. The Lions actually play football this month, buddy. And diehards like us will have something to actually talk about this month.
Yeah. Aren't you going?
No, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. July is just too full of stuff. But anybody out there watching, if you're watching on the rebroadcast, put it in the comments. If you ever been to the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, Detroit Lions will be playing there on July 31st against the Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh and company. And it'll be the first of preseason games in the NFL, and that's July 31st. But let us know if you've ever been to the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. We'd love to hear about it, thinking about going, wondering if there's some things there we just absolutely have to see. So any rumors on the rumor mill about Alex Anzalone?
Nothing at all.
That thing that you sent me where he said that, it wasn't about money, it was about security and such. That doesn't look like a real news report to me.
Mm-hmm. Rumor mill?
Yeah, I mean, that thing that you sent me, it didn't look like a real thing.
And as every day that goes on, I'm more and more confident Zadarius isn't coming back. We're not signing him.
Really? I still feel it. I still feel it that Zadarius Smith is going to be a Detroit Lion. I mean, somebody would have to come in with $15 million plus to stop this from happening, is what my gut tells me.
Was it confirmed that we offered him a contract and he just declined it?
No, that I did not. We've not been able to confirm that. What we do know is that Zadarius was asked on the red carpet of the BET Awards, who are you going to sign with? He said, where I want to be, and that's Detroit. And then later he was asked at the same event, after party, he was asked, when are you going to sign that contract with the Lions? And he said, soon. Yeah. Very soon. So, and then you take into account that we gave his nephew a contract, etc. It all indications are it's looking like we're the lead dog anyway. We're the leader in the clubhouse to land him. It'll take another team to come up with some money that pushes us out in order for not to get him. That's just how I feel. Maybe I'm a fool. Time will tell.
Aren't we due to be starting practices here? Like
OTAs, minicamp starts July 26th.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a game 5 days later, a preseason game 5 days later. So things are going to go fast and furious. They are going to have some joint practices as well.
Miami's one, right?
Huh?
We're having a joint with Miami, right?
That is one. And what was the other? Was Kansas City one as well?
I don't remember. I just remember Miami. I can look it up.
Yeah, that's okay. Joint practices. Another thing that we're talking about or thinking about is this receiving core. Amon-Ra St. Brown, will he have 1,000 yards? I think that's a given, right? As long as anyone stays healthy. I think Amon-Ra gets 1,000 yards, maybe closer to 1,500 yards. And then Jamison Williams coming off his first 1,000-yard season last year. Can he duplicate that? Can he duplicate that coming into year 4, which is such a pivotal year on your rookie contract? Will Amon-Ra St. Brown have over 85 catches? And then Isaac Tesla and Tim Patrick. And hey, let's not forget about Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond's good for a couple of targets a game, but they're always big plays. He's definitely in the rotation. I like this receiving core. I think they're good. You have an all-pro there with Amon-Ra. But behind Amon-Ra, I don't think there's any slam dunks on this receiving core. What do you think?
Well, I think JMO, we saw his development last year. We've seen him mature and stay out of trouble all off season. He's our number 2. We know it. But what about Tim Patrick? I mean, most teams would want him as a number 3.
He's a viable number 3, no doubt about it. And he's got that X body type out there beyond the hash marks to get 50-50 balls. And I think he's going to have a sneaky good season. I think he's going to be a top tier wide receiver 3 stat wise.
Right. And is Tesla going to steal Raymond's number 4 spot?
That's such a great question. I think training camp is going to prove that. Now with the new offensive coordinator, you got to imagine that guys like Khalif Raymond aren't going to be able to rest on their laurels when they get to training camp. They're going to have to earn their spot. Craig Reynolds in the running back room as well. Sion Vaki, these guys, there's some undrafted free agents that are going to be playing hard and hungry to try to make this team. I mean, they picked a bad team to try to make because there aren't a lot of holes on this team. But every year, especially with the Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell regime, we see training camp players making the team.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching the NFC North Open Mic Night with your host, Chad Datema. I'm Main Event Mike. You can catch me every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern on this very network. We're broadcasting live into the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. We'd like to hear from you. Put it in the comments if you're watching live or if you're watching on the rebroadcast. Say hello because you're our people. It's July 2nd. You're in here looking at football. If you even stop for a second as you're scrolling by, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Definitely.
Broski Bear, he's a real fan. He's a real diehard, rooting for his Bears. Down there in the Carolinas, rooting for the Bears.
I'll be right back.
I'm glad you're in here, Broski, because I've been getting ridiculed for my praise of the Bears. I think there are a lot of fans that don't know football. And if you don't see what Ryan Poles is building in Chicago, you're blind. He's making a move. We did not do a stat prediction for Laporta, but I think it is such a great question. Sam Laporta had kind of a down year stat-wise last year. He was asked about it. He said there are a lot of good players on this team. Everybody wants the ball. I think he's going to settle right in. This is a year we're going to be looking at repaying him next year. So he's going to play hard. He's going to ask for targets. I think he's going to get more targets. I, however, would put him outside the top 5 in fantasy for tight ends. Therefore, I think he gets over 50 catches, but probably not over 60. I think that's where he's going to top out this year. I think JMO is going to demand more targets. I think with the changes on the offensive line to the Detroit Lions, the running game is going to change. I think they're going to lean on Jahmyr Gibbs a lot more. He's already penciled in as RB1 for the first time since he's been drafted. He has usurped David Montgomery on the depth chart. So I'm giving Laporta 50 catches, 700 yards. That's an incredible season for a tight end. He's not going 1,000, though. He's not going to go 1,000 yards this year. Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, and Yeboah. Those are our other tight ends. So he's going to feast when the tight end number is called. No doubt. It's Chad Datema's show, but he jumped off. Must have been a Bigfoot sighting in Michigan. His Bigfoot hotline must have went off. Wednesday, July 2nd. My wife's birthday. Happy birthday to my wife. Incredible that she puts up with me. My wife doesn't like football. She doesn't watch football. Not interested. She used to pretend to like football when we first dated because she knew how much of a fan I was. And then she would even sit through games. Like our first little date was watching the Super Bowl when the Cowboys beat the Buffalo Bills. That's how long ago that was. And she pretended to like it. And then we got married. And one day I was watching ESPN Classic. It was an old Michigan-Ohio State game. I was watching it sitting in the living room, and she walks by and she says, "Hey, it's not football season." I said, "Yeah, it's Classic, NFL Classic." She said, "Rerun football? Are you kidding me? Reruns? You're watching reruns of football?" That's right. And from that day on, I don't think she's ever watched another football game with me. What was your first pro sporting event? Your first pro sports experience? Were you like me? Did your dad take you to the ball game? My dad was a weekend dad, picked me up on the weekends. I want to hear about yours. What was your first pro sports experience? Put it in the comments. Let's give us something to talk about. I'll tell you about mine. I was 8 years old. My dad picked me up on the weekend, took me to Tiger Stadium on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. And we watched a guy named Mark Fidrich pitch. I was 8 years old, but I was still a sports fan then. I knew exactly who he was, and I knew what was going on. And I was stoked. And we watched this guy named Mark Fidrich pitch, and all the kids who came in got a little whistle that looked like a bird because he was called the Bird because he was an odd duck. He wouldn't step on the baselines. He would talk to the ball. Talk to the ball. And he was Rookie of the Year. And I think he won a Cy Young, too, if I'm not mistaken, in that year. So that was my introduction to pro sports, watching Mark Fidrich pitch a two-hit game. I believe it was against the Kansas City Royals. And on that day, I got to meet George Brett. I think he was a rookie. Which was he was very nice, really cool. Future Hall of Famer, of course, third baseman, one of the greatest third basemen of all time. I got to meet George Brett and got to see Mark Fidrich pitch. That was my first pro sports experience. What was yours? I think the highlight of my pro sports experience might have been going to a game in '97 at the Big House on the year we won the national championship. Definitely a highlight. Watching Barry Sanders score 4 touchdowns in the second half to beat the Minnesota Vikings in the Pontiac Silverdome. Definitely a highlight. I got to see Roger Clemens pitch against Justin Verlander at Comerica Park. Incredible. I've had some great sport moments in my life. What was yours? I want to hear about it. Let's welcome to the stage right now our good friend Broski Bear. What's up, Broski?
Main Event Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing so good. Broski, what was your first pro sports experience?
First pro sport experience was a Cleveland Indians versus Oakland Athletics game at the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. There was a double steal that game, and Brett Butler stole home. The Indians proceeded to get spanked in the game, and I told my dad I wanted an Oakland A's hat. An Indians hat.
You were a bandwagon jumper back then?
Hey, man, that's what I did, and I think I was like 7, 8 years old, six or seven actually. That's probably how old I was, and Yeah, man. I moved around a little bit growing up, and Cleveland was my second stop in the game of life. Yeah.
So,
that,
have you been an Oakland A's fan since?
like when I was young, it just so happened I was on the Oakland A's. Like I never played t-ball. I played like coach pitch instead. That was like my first organized baseball, and I was on the A's then. It just so happened. Like I got the hat first, and then like signed up for baseball, and I was on a team called the A's. So I kind of liked the A's growing up. I like the A's, but I was a Cubs fan. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah.
Even a lot of people here in Michigan were Cubs fans because of the reach WGN had. Right. And we get to watch Harry Carey all the time. And in down years when the Tigers weren't doing well, there were a lot of Cubs fans around here rooting for Ryan Sandberg and all those guys during those late 80s, early 90s years. Chad, what was your first professional sporting event experience? Your first?
Well, okay. You're going to laugh. My dad got transferred to Indiana when I was like in preschool. So I grew up in Indiana.
The prison system? He got transferred to Indiana prison?
No, his job.
Oh.
I grew up in Indiana until 9th grade.
Gary?
No, Carmel, well-to-do town.
Gary, the armpit of the world.
But,
New Jersey West.
I lived there until my mom passed when I was 15 in like 1985. But in 1977, the very first professional sporting game I went to was Pacers versus Pistons. And what's really kind of funny, and I remember some of it. What's really funny is we had a Pacer, so we took a Pacer to the Pacer game. But my dad being from Saginaw, Michigan, so we were rooting for the Pistons. And I also remember this is the very first beer I ever had. So I was like 8 years old. I didn't get a whole one. The first taste I got.
Okay. All right. So your first sporting event was your first beer. And here we are,
not a whole beer.
45 years later, talking about sports, having a beer. Love it.
Yep.
So that was your first. Now, Broski, I'll take it back over to you. What was your greatest professional sporting event or moment?
I mean, that's a tough one. The first event I went to, like I mentioned, that was actually, I had to think of the year. That was 1983, I believe. But yeah, best sport. I mean, there's been a few. I'd pretty much have to go by sport. I mean, I saw a Bulls Pistons game at the old Chicago Stadium back in the day. That was also my first exposure to people smoking weed in public, and it was also my first exposure to I think like just seeing prostitutes outside the stadium. Also, people getting mugged as soon as the lights went off for the introduction because we sat in the upper level.
And
a couple wallets
getting shook down when the lights went off.
Yes, a couple people got. One guy got gripped up and got his wallet stolen because back then it was so common for people to carry their wallets in their back pocket. One of the dumbest fucking things in the world. Like I was. Like 10 years old and I knew better. Like that's just fucking dumb. Like my own friends would take it from me probably. But anyway, yeah, man, that was a great game. And very intense.
So you got to see Michael Jordan and Isaiah square off.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
So what about you, Chad? What's your greatest professional sports moment?
Well, I haven't had a lot until recently, and I don't go to a lot because of TV now. It's sometimes better on TV. I've been to some really good games, but I remember the year we traded for Juan Gonzalez and offered him the largest contract in MLB history, and he refused it and took a 1-year contract with the Cleveland Indians. And I went to that game in the 90-something, I think. And Steve Sparks was on the mound. You remember Steve?
I do.
Knuckleball pitcher. He threw a one-hitter. And I started the chants of Juan, you suck out in right field. And the whole stadium started chanting it. And I was the one that started it, yelling at it, screaming, badger him. Today I'd get kicked out to do that. But I was saying, Juan, traitor, dude. We did offer him the largest contract ever in MLB history, and he declined it. So.
In the old Tiger Stadium, there used to be what's called the bleachers out in center field, and all the people that went to watch the game from there were called the bleacher bums.
Yep.
And my dad and a bunch of his friends were all proud bleacher bums. They'd go out there and drink $1 24-ounce beers, get all hammered, and drive us home. And I remember one summer we were out there on the rail, and center fielder for the Milwaukee Brewers' name was Gorman Thomas, and or he was playing center that day. I don't know why, but my dad and his buddies are leaning over the rail. They're Gorman, you suck, Gorman. I will never forget that. He reached, turned around, and flipped everybody off with the middle finger. I was just a little kid, thought that was the coolest thing in the whole world.
I was at the Cleveland game at Tiger Stadium after the strike ended, and I don't know if it was a home opener or not. I don't think it was. And they gave away these calendars. Some meat company did these little with magnets on them and stuff. They weren't full magnetic, just 4 magnets, and they were like
okay.
And it just rained on the field, and that was the time when all those fans ran on the field, and that one guy was running around, nobody could catch him, and he ran and dove in to home plate and made it before, and they chased him around for like 45 seconds on the field. They brought in Detroit riot police and everything marching in. They stopped the game.
You were at that game?
I was at that game.
And didn't they throw those little calendars all over the field?
Yes.
I do remember. Yes. I've seen that video from that. Yeah.
Yes. And the number of people, there was like at least 6 to 10 people that jumped on the field that game and ran around, and they delayed the game. People were throwing batteries. They were calling Manny Ramirez a $1 million crybaby. I believe he was in center field. I was in the center field bleachers, and I was young. And then there's another fact. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, because we all know what happened, but we were all at LSD back at that game, but it really happened. We didn't imagine none of this because it's all on video. So we experienced this like while we were on LSD, and that's a lot. I don't condone drugs unless they're legal. But back in that day, I think I was still in high school when that happened, bro. I think I was like 17 years old.
So Chad took acid, went and sat in the bleachers on the riot day at Tiger Stadium.
Yep.
Nice. I like it. Next question for you, gentlemen. Have you ever met your idol? Or who's the most famous guy you ever met? Sports figure. Let's stick to sports figure. I've met a lot of movie stars and stuff and actors in my life, my career, but sports stars. Broski, we'll start with you. Have you ever met anyone famous, any famous athletes?
Does that include like playing against them in sports?
Yeah, whatever, man. Who's the biggest name or you felt that fanboy that you got to meet?
Well, I definitely wasn't a fan at the time, but Kobe.
You got to meet the Mamba?
I got to play against the Mamba.
Get the fuck out of here.
I got to play against.
We got to hear this now, Broski. Broski against the Mamba. Let's hear it.
I mean, Broski against the Mamba. I mean, Broski fouled out. You know what I mean? But I played him a couple of times, a couple of different like seasons. So once, like right when he came over from Italy. People don't realize he grew up in Italy. He speaks fluent Italian.
He did.
Came over when he was in 7th grade.
Went to Marion High School, though.
Lower Marion, yeah.
Yep.
So
is that where you were playing him in a junior league or something?
Middle school.
In middle school.
I was a year older. I was in 8th grade. He was in 7th grade. So
his dad, Jelly Bean Bryant, was an NBA player. So I mean, everybody had to know who he was, right?
And he was also in the stands, yeah. And then again in high school, I played against him.
And did he just dominate?
I mean, he caught an alley-oop dunk in 7th grade. He caught a legit oop, but yeah, we did good against them then. We won that game actually. But yeah, high school, different story. I mean, when he was a junior and senior, he made it to the team was in the state playoffs. They wanted his I think they wanted his senior year, not his junior year. But yeah, man. So Rip Hamilton was in his class as well. So they were both in that area. I'm not going to get into too specific, but obviously suburban Philly area. But yeah, man. And then John Salmons, pro basketball player John Salmons, played against him. I was 2 or 3 years. I think I was 3 years older than him, actually.
I remember John Salmons.
Yeah, he was a nasty player, man. Like a 6'7", 6'8" point guard. He was like he was one of those what do they call point forwards.
Yeah, he was like Steven Jackson.
Yeah, he was like a small forward. He could bring the ball up.
You have the same build like Steven Jackson. How about you, Chad? Who famous have you met besides Bigfoot?
And you, Mike.
And me. Besides me, you see that's an Emmy nomination over my shoulder, you punk. Go ahead. Who else have you met besides me?
I got two quick ones. And one's kind of ironic because you'll find out when I'm done. I met Dean Palmer on where the fans could go on the field, and this was at Comerica.
Who?
And Dean Palmer.
Who the hell is Dean Palmer?
He was awesome. He played for the Rangers, and we traded somebody and got him for like a season. But he's a great hitter, and he was a really nice guy. Everybody's swarming around like Bobby Higginson, and then there was, I forget our Japanese pitcher that we had. They were swarming over him and other players, and Dean Palmer's standing there, and I went up to him. I didn't, he's just standing there, and I knew who he was. I watched him through the 90s with the Rangers. I walked up to him, and I said, "Hey, Dean, man, nice to have you on the team." He went and shook my hand. I'm way taller than him. His hand is so wide, huge, and muscular. And he hit a lot of home runs, too. So I got to talk to him for like 40 minutes, just me and him, and nobody came up and talked to him because he was new on the team. And I love that. But then I was driving for Uber and Lyft as a side gig several years back, and I go to pick up this lady, and I get out, and I load her. She's an older lady, loaded in there, and I'm looking at like what ended up being her nephew. I found out I'm looking, I'm like, man, you look like a football player. Is that saying nothing? I'm loading this stuff up. I'm like, I know you, but I can't place them. And I get in, she gets in the car. I'm driving her to the airport. I'm like, man, the dude looks so familiar. I can't place him. She says, that's my nephew, Darius Slay. I didn't recognize him because he shaved. That was the year he shaved all his dreads off. If he had him, I would have totally recognized him. So I was like there, and he was thanking me and all that. He didn't leave me a tip, though, bro. He did not. Darius Slay did not leave me a tip.
What a bum.
What a cheap bastard.
Cheap bastard. If you're out there, Big Play Slay, tip this man. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I just a couple of years ago, in fact, I got to hang out with Isaiah Thomas for 3 hours. My day job, I have a day job, and my day job is at a marketing company, and my company was marketing his champagne. He has his own champagne, and this is my job to go and facilitate when the celebrities come, and I got to hang out with my idol, with my hero, for 3 hours. And Isaiah, when I tell you, obviously it was bugging the shit out of him that I just continually talked. But I explained to him right from the jump, and it really segued us into a great conversation. I said, you're my hero. When I've been able to sleep for 2 days knowing that I'm going to do that. I'm going to get to meet you, Zeke. I mean, I wore number 11. You're my guy. And I said, I'm sure you've met your heroes, right? And Isaiah looked at me, paused, and he said, Muhammad Ali. And we talked for 20 minutes about Muhammad Ali, and it was such an enlightening conversation. And he said he was fanboy. He was just like I was fanboy to him. He was fanboy to Muhammad Ali, so he handled it like such a pro. And there's a picture of me and him together, and in the picture, you could tell I am totally, I'm just geeked, man. I look ridiculous in the picture because I'm so geeked. So yeah, that was quite an honor. I mean, I met a lot of famous people. I met Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, a lot of actors and stuff with my past life. But as far as sports, I met a few others. Charlie Batch, Jack Morris cussed me out once. Ashton Kutcher gave me the stink eye 2 years ago. That was kind of cool. So it's kind of neat when you have the brush with fame people and you get to talk about it in the off season because there's a whole lot to talk about on a football show.
I forgot one, bro.
Go ahead.
And I spent a night with him and got drunk with him and all that. And I got to hold and wear his World Series ring. Dave Rosemont, he went to a Whitecaps game when I was living in Grand Rapids, and it was a meet him after at this bar. And him and I hung, I can't believe that's what alcohol does to you. Dude, I hung out with him all night. People were buying him so many drinks. He was like, Chad, you don't have to pay for nothing. Dude, this was great. He's like, okay, thanks. And then when they leave, he'd slide it across the table to me. I hung out with him for, dude, like probably 3 hours. I can't believe I forgot that.
Talking about the 80, were you guys talking about the 84 Tigers?
Yep. And we were talking about the up and coming Whitecaps and stuff. Robert Fick was on the team at the time, by the way, who hit the last home run in Tiger Stadium, cleared the right field roof. He's the guy that was a main part in the Chicago Brawl, the biggest, like the most notorious brawl in baseball history.
Right. So I'm hanging out with Isaiah, and there's one question burning in the back of my brain, but I can't ask you, right? I can't talk about it. I know not to talk about it. What do you think that question was, Chad, that was burning me as I'm hanging out with Isaiah Thomas?
Can I have your autograph?
No. It was, ain't Michael Jordan a dick for not letting you on the Olympic team? Can't even, you don't even want to mention that. That is such a touchy subject. But, man, was that gnawing at me to say, what a bunch of bullshit. They didn't let you on the Olympic team.
I wouldn't present it to him as a question. I would say that fucking Michael Jordan is the biggest asshole in the world for not letting me on the team, and not leave it as a question and then leave it as an open statement. So then he's going to reply to it.
Yeah, no, we didn't even go there. I did ask him things about, who's the greatest player you've ever seen, who was the toughest cover, things like that. I did ask him a lot of probing questions.
Did Larry Bird come
I asked him about music, because that's such a big part of my life. So it was really, really awesome to hang out with Isaiah for 3. He was so gracious and cool. Met Clarissa Shields, Rick Mahorn.
I was going to say Rick Mahorn. I actually ran a basketball camp, a mini camp with him. Him and World Be. Do you remember World Be Free?
Yeah. If you ever got to meet Mahorn, wasn't he the nicest guy? Just the nicest guy. Mean and nasty on the court, but in person, just a great gentleman.
I was like the first person to welcome him to like the basketball camp. It was at my high school, and like all of a sudden I walk outside and he just like pulls right up to like the gym, like goes on the sidewalk, goes, you know what I mean, just drives like not on the road, like he's literally driving like you're not allowed to drive there, but you are. Huge. I
can afford the ticket.
He had this huge black pickup. I mean, it was so high up, and he gets out. He's 6'10". I mean, his playing weight, he was probably, I don't know, 250, 260, 270. But, like, I mean, this guy weighs over 400 pounds now. Like just a large. He made Jelly Bean Bryant look small. But, World Be Free was there also, man. That was like a 4-day camp, man. That was a good time, man. But
that's awesome.
Man.
We got Steve in the comments. He says, "Sup, guys? Sup, Steve?" What we're talking about, Steve, is what was your first professional sports experience, or who is it, and also who is the most famous or the standout moment when you got to meet a professional athlete? Tell us about it. Put it in the comments. You're watching the NFC North Open Mic on the Roku Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. Here with Chad Data, Main Event Mike, and Broski Bear. What's up, Broski?
I've got a rather unique story I could tell really quick about it.
Let's hear it.
So, I don't know how familiar you are.
Wait, does it involve a donkey in Mexico?
Jack, close your ears. But
right. Jack, close your ears. He banged a Bigfoot. Go ahead.
But man. So I was in high school. I was a senior, and obviously you like to try to find places to go get served. So we found one. It was through the wrestling league, ECW. I don't know if you're familiar with it. A lot of wrestlers came from there. Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, a couple other guys went through ECW. It was like a South Philly league that kind of got big.
Sure.
Long story short, I went to an ECW match. They had 2 locations they fought at. The one I went to, Sandman fought. I love Sandman. He'd crack people with his bamboo stick and make them bleed, and he was just a crazy guy. Anyway, after his match, I was back at the bar, and they would just pour you plastic cups out of a keg like you were in college or something. And man, I was like, I got served. They didn't even question me. And then next thing you know, Sandman comes down and sits down next to me at the bar after his match. And I had a beer with Sandman, the wrestler. So while I was 18 years old.
Very cool. I'm actually related to the original Sheik. You're too young to remember the original Sheik, not the Iron Sheik from the WWF that fought Hulk Hogan, not that Sheik. The original Sheik, back in the day with Harley Race and Bobo Brazil and those guys. He was my grandfather's first cousin, and he was quite a big star and a really nice guy. Let's welcome to the stage a Green Bay Packer fan, the best Green Bay Packer fan out there. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How you doing, Mike? Chad?
I'm so good. I don't know if I ever told you this, Steve, but of all the Green Bay Packer fans, I hate you the least.
I remember many times you said that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
Shout
true.
out to Steve.
Well, on your story, I got a good story for you about that. You said what you was asking. I was working at McDonald's at the time, and the owner gave me tickets to the Steeler-Packer game in 1998. And I drew a picture of Brett Favre. And we were sitting outside, and the Packer bus comes up. Now, this was when it was Three River Stadium. You're going to remember back then. And Brett Favre comes off the bus, and he looks and this is no lie, he looks right at me because I had that picture. He stops. Now, the security out there, pushed us back. I was kind of hoping, I could have met him and have him autograph that. But since that didn't happen, I wouldn't put the picture. Anyway, I put the thing back into the car.
Okay, you put the picture where? Yeah, you broke up for a minute, Steve. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, so since I wasn't allowed to do that, I put the picture back into the car, the whole photo thing, my drawing tablet. Lo and behold, it pissed me off because here comes this is no lie. The governor of Wisconsin comes off. Apparently he saw it, and he asked me what I did with it. And I told him I put it back in the car. And if I wouldn't have put it back in the car, he was going to take me into the locker room and have the team autograph it.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to cry. I almost cried.
That is like the best almost story ever.
Yeah. Well, what was nice is I did meet Ron Wolf. He did autograph it, and I told him how I knew how he got Brett Favre and everything. And he's like, your football. And I said, well, yeah. I said, I'm a die-hard Packer fan. Well, I went and got the thing, and I took it into the stadium with me, and there was a couple guys that was trying to get me to go down on the field to get some autographs, whatever, but they couldn't get it to go. And it, it really
do you still have the picture?
Yes, I do.
And is Ron Wolf's signature on it?
Yeah, I still have the film. It has Ron Wolf's signature on it. Yes.
Wow, that's kind of cool, man.
And another one was, see, I'm kind of an artist, and I even years ago I designed new uniforms for the Packers, and I sent them up there to up to Green Bay. Well, this is I'm telling you, honest to God, is truth. Bob Harlan sent me a letter because I still have it somewhere, I believe, and he even called me and told me that if the Packers would have a legit owner, then something could have been done. But for the fact that the town owns them, it was impossible for that to go through. The team and everybody liked the designs that I made up. But it was just.
I'm interested. What was this design? Did
I still have.
Did it look like a basement?
I still have those pictures too that I did.
See them.
Well, when I get a chance, I'll come up on here. I'll come on cam. I'll show you guys everything if I can.
I'm really jealous too, man. I can't draw. I have no artistic talent like that. And, I would love to see some of your work, man. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, okay. I will get that stuff ready. And it was to know that I couldn't get some stuff done, but to meet Ron Wolf, to have Bob Harlan call me and stuff, whatever, that was great in my life.
That is
to have
cool.
to have that done.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Were you ever
I even thought about designing new uniforms, no lie, for the Lions.
Lions could use a new uniform. That old tired lion. I've never really cared for the logo a whole lot.
Well, the thing is, I was even thinking about, don't get mad at me, changing the colors.
Yeah. I wouldn't get mad at you. It's an odd. The Honolulu blue is an odd kind of color, and the blue and silver though is so entrenched now. The fight song, the blue and silver wave. It's not changeable.
Well, they're the Lions, okay, and with the lion, trying to make like the jersey and stuff like a lion type color.
Uh-huh.
To make it fit, the lions and whatever. I know that I could work up something that I think if I did it, it would really grab people. I think people would be like, you know what? This would work.
Well, you got a tail on the uniform?
No.
Is there a tail hanging off the pants and a big mane around the neck roll?
No,
Extra
but
tackle things.
I know the uniforms look sweet if I worked on it.
I really am interested to see what Packer though uniform changes you dreamt up and actually sent them to the team. I mean, that's pretty dope. I would love to see it.
I'd love to see a new uniform for the Bears, man. Holy shit. I'm sick and tired of looking at that orange C.
Well, the Bears don't have a tail tackle.
I don't like their alternate ones with the stripes on them either.
They look like Michigan.
Their uniforms need work.
Yeah, well, you're getting a new stadium, it looks like.
Yeah. It coincides with new uniforms. Like, new stadium, new uniforms. Let's do it.
Maybe they will.
Get it done.
I mean, just that bear logo of the bear head, that looks pretty freaking cool, man. I mean, that looks pretty vicious.
The bear head is really cool.
That would look cool on the side of the helmet instead of that stupid toilet bowl looking C.
I like the bear paw that I have if it was orange or something,
But that's Cincinnati's already got it.
A bear paw? They have a paw?
Just like your logo that's on screen right now. That's Cincinnati
really?
logo.
Yeah, the Bearcats.
Yeah.
The Bearcats? Are you talking about the Bengals?
No, Broski, I'm telling you, your avatar right now that's on the screen, that is the logo for the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah.
Oh, Bearcats. Okay.
The Bearcats.
I thought you meant the Bengals.
The
Bearcats is red. The Bearcats, and their emblem
Yeah, the colors are different. But
what I'm saying is do it like in an electric, like orange color or something like that. I think that'd be cool.
The Wisconsin Badgers. There's a school here in West Virginia called Weirton, and they was going to sue the high school to change the logo on their helmet.
Because it's just a big W, block W, or is that wavy W like Wisconsin's?
It's the wavy W like Wisconsin.
Well, that probably is trademark infringement.
Right. So the school had to change the logo on their helmet. Mm-hmm. So like everybody was asking, okay, there's so many G's out there, Georgia, Green Bay, the Grambling State.
Grambling, yeah.
And why isn't there a big riff about that? Like, who had it first?
You're right. And the Grambling G is a little more compressed than the Green Bay one, but the Georgia one is exactly the same.
It sure is.
Yeah, except for we got the either yellow or green outline, and they have a red.
Right.
Yeah, but sometimes you just put the G like as a sticker on your bumper sticker or something. There's a lot of people down there have to do a double take. They're Georgia fans, not Packers fans, but the G is identical.
So, Steve, I have a question for you. It's a two-part. So now that you're knowing that the Bears are really in works to have the most state-of-the-art stadium, probably retractable roofs, what do you think would ever happen? I mean, who's next? It's the Giants?
Cleveland has announced last week they're going to build a domed stadium.
Yeah.
No more lake effect wind, snow, and all that in Cleveland.
And Buffalo? Okay, so now, Steven, what is your opinion? Because it's coming. Green Bay is going to get funded to have a retractable dome or just dome. And how do you feel about a new stadium, seeing like yours is as old as it is?
I don't see that ever happening.
It won't happen.
It won't happen.
They just approved $450,000 or $4.5 million or something for a renovation to Lambeau. Okay. But they will never cover that stadium.
Yeah, and Cleveland's new stadium is going to be from what I saw on what was the name show? Pat McAfee was talking to AJ Hawk. I guess it's going to be by the airport.
Yeah.
What about Eagles, though? I mean, look at some of the weather implications that have caused problems for the games. Giants, Eagles, I mean, they may start going. They may
I hope
be-
not. I think the elements are part of the game. Some teams play in a dome and some don't. Some have to play in the cold. Some have to play in the incredible swamp ass heat down in Miami in the summer. You know, the early games in Miami, it's almost 100 degrees. And it's just part of the game. And I think it's part of the charm of the game.
Let's see. So Miami is open stadium.
Kansas
Tampa-
City is open.
Bill
Baltimore, Philly.
Jacksonville's a dome, right?
Jacksonville's an open stadium. They don't even have a stadium right now. They're
So
building
all
it.
three of them, but they're playing in the winter months. So
But isn't Washington also getting a new stadium?
They are, but I don't think that'll be a dome stadium either.
No.
They just announced that too.
I mean, the Bengals are doing a renovation.
That's
So,
right. Paycor
we're going
Stadium
out.
getting a facelift.
Yep.
That's a relatively new stadium. That's like 20 years old only, too. Ford Field's now an old stadium.
Yeah, it's like a $500 million renovation.
Right. I stayed there last year in that hotel that spins around right there at the river, and you can overlook Paycor Stadium.
Spins around.
Yeah, at the top, right at the Ohio border in Cincinnati, and Kentucky border. It's on the Kentucky side. There's a big hotel that looks like a giant cylinder, and the top spins around as a restaurant.
you
Oh, wow.
spin me right round, baby, right
No.
round like a rainy baby, right?
Like the needle in
I have
Toronto.
producer credentials. I could pull that out. The gayest dude I know is singing the gayest song I ever heard. What's up? You back now, Chad? Oh, man, we had to mute you.
I saw.
This ain't Casey Kasem's top 40 countdown. Well, we're running out of time, boys. Got about 10 minutes left. It was great hearing about your biggest sporting events. But, Steve, we didn't get to you. What was your very first professional sporting event?
Live that I went to?
Yes.
I would have to, if I remember, it was a hockey game.
Yeah?
My brother took me to the Canadians Penguins hockey game, and I think that was the game where the puck went through I can't remember the goalie for the Penguins. It went through his mask and cracked, and hit him right in the eye. He laid there he laid right there on the ice, and the blood just poured out.
Wow. So that was at the Igloo then in Pittsburgh.
The Igloo, right? Because like I said, I'm 20, 30 minutes away from Pittsburgh,
Right on.
which sucks. I hate Pittsburgh fans.
So you got to see Mario Lemieux in that game.
Yeah, and Yager.
And Yager.
Yep.
But Crosby wasn't on the team yet.
Yeah, because I said if I was playing national hockey for in NHL, anytime we would play the Penguins, I would be boarding Yager every time. I would be boarding that sumbitch every freaking time.
I was going to say, I saw a Jeremy Roenick Blackhawks versus Wayne Gretzky Kings Chicago Stadium.
I actually got a Jeremy Roenick Coyotes jerseys upstairs.
Ugly.
Yeah,
That's
I like
an
it.
ugly jersey, boy. The Coyotes.
And I have an official rugby jersey from New Zealand.
Nice.
Yes. Or no, not New Zealand, Australia, I believe.
Right on. Chad, I got a jet. Thanks for having me on your show, on your Black Panther party. Appreciate you. What, did he leave? I didn't remove him that time. I think he did that himself.
Peace out, Chad.
He just left his own show. People, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting in your comments. Thanks, Broski and Steve, for being on tonight. Hope everyone
Thanks for
has
having
a
us.
great 4th of July weekend as we celebrate Independence Day in this wonderful country. Football's around the corner. Thanks to all the diehards that are being here. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around.